Hello, everybody, and welcome to the second episode of the Caulifl-Hour. My name is Jordan Peitzman. I am your host. Today on the show, we're going to be talking about a variety of upcoming events in the Jiu-Jitsu community, the first of which will be Finishers 11's Survivor Series taking place this Sunday, February 2nd. We'll be talking about how they're going to make their own little spin on the quintet rule set, how the format works, who's participating, and, of course, who I think is going to win. We'll also be talking about Kasai 7's 8-man heavyweight tournament, why I typically find heavyweight contests to be boring, but why I'm excited for this one on Saturday. And we will also have a surprise guest coming on the show to make his picks for Kasai's 8-man heavyweight tournament and Finishers Survivor Series. So a lot to be excited about on the show today. But first, we talked about it last week on the show. Cesar Gracie Black Belt Bill Hodder blessed us with a free seminar here at No Coast Jiu-Jitsu. If you missed it, first of all, shame on you. But lucky for you, we have captured all of the footage. We have all of the techniques. I've cut it up into a very easily digestible form and provided it for free on our YouTube channel. So I'll include that video at the end of this video so you guys can check that out. And also, just one more thing before we get started here. February 22nd, right here at No Coast Jiu-Jitsu, one of the baddest men on the planet, Eric Paulson, will be conducting a jiu-jitsu seminar. The cost of that is $90, and I will also provide a link in the description with that as well, so you guys can get yourselves signed up. Without further ado, let's get the show started. First up on the show today, we will be previewing Finishers 11's Survivor Series taking place this Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday, February 2nd at Matrix Performance in Allentown, Pennsylvania. They'll be kicking off at 11 a.m. Eastern, and they always provide that for free on the show, our YouTube channel. I know they've been offered money by Flow Grappling in the past, so respect to Zach and JM for always keeping that free. So we're just going to talk about how they've made their own little spin on the quintet rule set. Typically in a quintet format, the team has a total weight category that they have to be under, so you have guys of all varying sizes. They have taken a little spin on that, and they are making all members of the teams have to weigh in under 145 pounds. So it's actually really impressive that they were able to gather that many midgets together for one event. I'm just kidding, guys. I know you guys would all murder me. But on a serious note, let's run you guys through the teams real quick here. We've got 10th Planet Montreal, Show the Art, Uchiha Clan, Aiden Collins, and Sober Grappler, a couple guys I recognize on that team there. The other guys, we got John Battle, Tim McNamara, Javier Palomo. Javier heads up the Grapplers Union podcast. John and Tim McNamara, former Finishers vets, and John's also a vet of Subspectrum, my personal event. 10th Planet Finishers, they have a really, really good team, and they're going to be one to look out for. Zach Maslany, Ricky Lule, Ray De Leon, Anthony Burchek, and Gabe Tejada. I think they're going to be the favorite to come out of their side of the bracket. We'll take a look at those here in just a second. And Team Renzo Gracie, who I think is going to be the favorite to take their side of the bracket and end up in the finals against 10th Planet Finishers. Like I said, we'll look at the brackets here in a moment. But they've got Damian Thompson, Frank Rosenthal, and who I believe is the best grappler in this tournament, or this event rather, and his name is Ethan Krellinston. So as we take a look at the left side of the bracket, we have 10th Planet Finishers getting that first round bye and into the semifinals, and they will be taking on the winner of Team Show the Art and Uchiha Clan. I'm going to be totally honest, I don't know a lot of guys on either of these teams. It's my bad just for not knowing the East Coast scene as well as I probably should. But I'm going to take Show the Art in this one to advance to the semifinals against 10th Planet Finishers. And in that matchup, I'm going to take 10th Planet Finishers 10 out of 10 times. They have assembled a very, very good team of 5 guys right here, and they're going to be very hard to beat. I take them into the finals against the winner of the right side of our bracket, which we'll take a look at here now. On the top, we have Team Renzo Gracie getting that first round bye into the semifinals, and they will take on the winner of 10th Planet Montreal and the other guys. In my opinion, the other guys are going to be the ones moving on to the semifinals to take on Team Renzo Gracie. As I mentioned earlier, they have a handful of finishers vets in John Battle and Tim McNamara, as well as Javier Palomo, another guy from the Chicago area that I have heard of on the grappling scene, also has his own podcast, so check that out, Grappler Union. And in a matchup between the two of those, I'm taking Team Renzo Gracie every single time. I think their team is just going to be too much. I think Ethan Crelinsten's going to be too much for everybody in this entire event. He's the best grappler, in my opinion, probably by far the best grappler. And I think that's going to be the difference maker in this particular matchup. I have Team Renzo Gracie advancing to the finals against 10th Planet Finishers. Like I said, 10th Planet Finishers has assembled an incredible team here. They have 5 really, really tough guys. But again, I think that Ethan Crelinsten's power and Team Renzo Gracie in general is going to be too much for them to handle. They're the ones that I think are going to take the championship at this team duel Survivor Series Finishers 11 this Sunday, February 2nd, Super Bowl Sunday. Like I said, 11 a.m. They kick it off free on the Show the Art YouTube channel. Next up, we're going to be talking about Kasai 7's 8-man heavyweight tournament taking place this Saturday in Houston, Texas, at the Bomb Factory. We're going to jump right into the groups. Group A has Cyborg, Vinny Magalhaes, Nicky Rodriguez, and Bruno Bastos. This is a very, very interesting group for a number of reasons, but for one very obvious reason, we get to see the rematch between Nicky Rodriguez and Cyborg after their controversial matchup at 80cc. So it's going to be very interesting to see how intense and how much animosity there is between those two men. I'm very, very excited to see that. You can probably see the grin on my face because I'm actually excited for that one. The addition of Vinny Magalhaes to this group is also extremely exciting. He's a very submission-oriented grappler, somebody that I personally love to watch grapple. I love watching his MMA career. He's actually submitted somebody that I train with, or have trained with in the past. So Vinny's a guy that I like to watch, and it's going to be interesting to see who comes out of this group. I personally think that Nicky Rodriguez is going to be incredibly hard to score on in this event, but if there's one guy that I believe that can do it in this group, it is Vinny Magalhaes, and I think that's going to be the difference maker here. I see him advancing to the finals to take on the winner of Group B, which we will talk about next. That group is consisted of Patrick Gaudio, João Rocha, Lucas Hulk Barbosa, and Kyle Bame. Again, a very submission-oriented grappler, and Kyle Bame joining the group here. It'll be interesting to see how his style matches up. Again, I think everybody in this group is going to be incredibly hard to submit. Everybody's going to be incredibly hard to score on, but if there's one person that I think can make the difference, I think it's going to be Kyle Bame, and I think it's going to be because of Kasai's submission attempt points. I think he's going to be threatening a lot of submissions from the Kimura trap and his leg locks, and I think that's going to be the difference maker. I'm picking him to go into the finals. He's my wild card pick. I'm taking him into the finals against Vinny Magalhaes. And now, of course, I am forced to pick because that's the reason we're here, right? We've got Vinny Magalhaes versus Kyle Bame, an all 10th Planet final, and I'm going to be taking Vinny Magalhaes. I think he wins this matchup 7 to 8 times out of 10, and I think this is going to be one of those 7 or 8. Vinny Magalhaes wins, and he is your heavyweight champion this Saturday at Kasai's heavyweight tournament. And before we move along, just mention the super fights on the card. In the main event, we have Renato Canuto taking on Dante Leon. In the co-main event super fight, we have Renato's wife, Raquel Canuto, taking on Gabby McComb. And in the third super fight, we have Pedro Rocha taking on John Combs. John Combs just came off of that big rear naked choke win over Cody Steele. We talked about that on the show last week. I picked Cody. I was wrong. John won. All right, sometimes you're wrong. And just so happens, on the undercard, we also still have Cody Steele and Andrew Tackett, who we both talked about on the show last weekend. So be on the lookout for them on the undercard. Like I said, that kicks off at 5:45 on Flow Grappling this Saturday, February 1st. Yeah, that's correct. February 1st, Kasai 7's 8-man heavyweight tournament plus a bunch of super fights. Make sure you check it out. And now that we've established that nobody cares about what I think on these matchups, let's bring in somebody whose opinions you actually care about. Our special guest for today, giving his picks on Kasai's 8-man heavyweight tournament and the Finisher Sub-Only Survivor Series, my good friend, Keith Krikorian.
There you go.
Okay.
Perfect. All right, so we'll get started right away. For everybody that doesn't know, we already recorded this segment once, but my dumb ass forgot to capture the sound. We only got the video, so we're going to do it one more time. So we're getting Keith's picks on the Kasai Pro 7 8-man heavyweight tournament coming up this weekend. We're going to bring the graphic up on the screen so people can see it at home. We've got Nicky Rodriguez, Patrick Gaudio, Lucas Hulk Barbosa, Vinny Magalhaes, João Rocha, Cyborg, Bruno Bastos, and Kyle Bain. So we're going to explain the rules one more time. You obviously already know them because we already did this. But for everybody at home, I'm going to give you a random matchup. And in 10 seconds or less, you're going to tell me who's going to win and why you think they're going to win or how you think they're going to win.
Cool.
All right.
Sounds good.
Good to go? Okay. First one, Kyle Bain versus Cyborg.
I think that Kyle wins that, if not by a leg lock or some sort of like submission off a Kimura trap, then by negative points from Cyborg due to stalling or disengaging.
Absolutely. Number 2, we've got Lucas Barbosa versus Vinny Magalhaes.
I really like that match. I think that Vinny's bottom game and Lucas's top game is a really interesting styles match. I ultimately would see Vinny winning off probably submission at 10 points with a Kasai rule set.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, third up, we've got Nicky Rodriguez versus Kyle Bain.
Yeah, that's a match that I really like. I wanted to see that at BJJ Fanatics under submission only rules, but at Kasai, I think it still goes to Kyle. I think that he'll likely win off submission attempts, points, or by a leg lock. We saw Nick lose to Kanon by leg lock, and Kyle's leg locks are a lot better than Kanon's.
Absolutely, no doubt about that. Next up, we got Nicky Rodriguez versus Vinny Magalhaes.
That's a really interesting one too. Sort of another wrestler versus like bottom player jiu-jitsu match. I'd say probably Nick maybe would score a takedown or a couple takedowns, but he's not going to pass Vinny's guard, and I think eventually Vinny will sweep or get a leg lock.
Gotcha. All right, and next up, who takes the rematch between Nicky Rodriguez and Cyborg?
I picked Nick in this one again. The first match was so close, but there weren't too many like point scoring situations. But I think that under this rule set, Nicky will get a takedown, and he'll be a little more active than Cyborg will.
Gotcha. So you're taking Nicky Rodriguez. Last one, I'm going to make you pick between the two 10th Planet competitors, Vinny Magalhaes versus Kyle Bain.
Yeah. I hope this one doesn't happen, but if it does, I think it would be a really close match. And I think that Vinny would not tap any of Kyle's leg locks, but I think that Kyle would get some submission at 10 points and win that way.
Very nice. And real quick before we let you go, Finisher's doing their version of Quintet this weekend called Survivor Series. Instead of the whole team having a weight limit, everybody on the team, all 5 members, have to be 145 pounds. We talked about it obviously already. Who do you have winning that event?
Yeah, I think Team 10 Planet. I think we have a lot of strong wrestlers, strong positional grapplers, and I think that we could probably, upset a few of the DDS guys, and ultimately take it to a team title win.
Very nice. All right, staying loyal as always. That's all I really got for you since we already recorded it once. So I'll let you go so you don't keep up any more of your time. I appreciate you doing this again.
No worries. Thank you for having me.
Of course, man. We'll talk to you later, Keith.
Sounds good.
All right, real quick before we go, I just want to say thank you to everybody for tuning in today. This is episode 2 of the Caulifl-Hour. My name is Jordan Peitzman, and we're out.